Hello, my name is Veronica, and thanks for inviting me to spend a little time with you this afternoon and share my journey with you. I have a pretty interesting story to share. Actually, my journey inspired me to become one of the voices of hope. I grew up in Cleveland, Ohio, and am a U.S. Air Force veteran and a retired federal employee. I retired as the postmaster of Youngstown, Ohio. That's why this relay has a special place in my heart. And currently, I'm a small business owner. I retired in 2010 at the age of 55 to pursue my dream after retirement. In 2015, just 6 days after my 60th birthday, I found out that I had stage 4 lung cancer and started my treatment of chemotherapy and radiation. I never really had a sick day where I laid around in the bed. I was determined to get up every day, get dressed, and sit up and do something, even if I didn't feel like going anywhere. I went to support group meetings at the gathering place and learned how others dealt with their illness, and especially the ones that had the same illness as myself. What I learned is that attitude toward anything you want to accomplish will be the key to success and recovery. I was only able to complete 2 of my immune therapy treatments because, as mentioned, some of the side effects were that the therapy can attack your own organs, which it did. The first, just a few months after my immune therapy, was my heart, and it attacked it with what's called arterial fibrillation, or AFib. I was hospitalized for 5 days, and I left the hospital wearing a heart monitor for 30 days. Afterwards, I had to get blood work done once a week, and I got a call from the oncologist telling me to pack my bags for at least 3 days stay in the hospital because my liver was registering numbers that he had never saw in his 20-year career. Since then, I started taking scans every 3 months and progressed to taking them now every 6 months. Just about the same time last year after my scan, where he usually comes in with a smile to deliver the results, he wasn't smiling when he entered the room. He said something is going on in your right adrenal gland, and that it had dark edges around the cells and it looked lumpy instead of flat. So on May 9th last year, I had supposedly what was supposed to be a 45-minute laparoscopic surgery procedure that turned out to be 4.5 hours of surgery, and I didn't have enough muscle when I finally woke up to even blow my nose or barely cough. I was wondering why my chest was so tight and sore, so I peeked down in front of my gown to see that I had 52 staples across my chest, 2 puncture holes, and 2 small incisions on my right side. And after all of that, I still had my adrenal gland. So instead of crying, I would silently recite the poem that my grandfather used to say to the kids that went something like this: take a few moments to look upward when the day has only begun. Looking down, you'll see the dark shadows. Looking up, you'll see the sun. All around, there is much discouraged, disappointments, and bitterest cups. But God's love will bring you comfort if you just keep looking up. So last year I was discharged on May 18th and scheduled to speak at Brooklyn High School for the Relay for Life. So I was happy to do so and dedicated my journey thus far to my cousin, who was the coach at Rhodes High School. He lost his battle to colon cancer the year before. So now I'm engaged in this fight, not just for myself, but for my two aunts who also lost their battle to lung cancer. I would like to share that during the first year of my journey, I began volunteering with the American Cancer Society, Relay for Life, and the Fourth Angel program as well. And all that is where you have a pen pal or a mentor by phone, and usually it's someone that shares the same illness that you have. Last year I began learning to play the piano, and boy, I thought it would be easy because I was in my 60s and I would be able to learn a little quicker. And I didn't know it was so hard to learn how to read notes. But I'm managing. However, I had my first recital last year at the Cleveland Music Settlement. And so just to tell you a little quick view about my recital, there were 3 kids scheduled to play ahead of me. And the first little girl got up. She had to be about 4, and she could barely see the keys. She got up and played excellently. The second kid was about 5 years old. He got up and played outstandingly. And the third kid got up and played. He could barely see the keys, and he played like a little Liberace. So when the instructor announced me, he told the audience, well, okay, we'll go to a little slower pace. I played a little religious short song, God Has Smiled on Me was the name of it. And then we're back to 2019. I thought I'd catch up on some routine annual tests, go take my mammogram and colonoscopy and stress tests, etc. So I started right around my birthday in February, getting my mammogram, and it feels like I was thrust right into the center of the tornado again. I took not 1, but 2 mammograms. And for the ladies here tonight, you know what it feels like when you get the smashed potato treatment, followed by yet another one. Then I had a needle biopsy. And finally, I was told I had ductal carcinoma, which was the earliest stage of breast cancer, or the beginning stages of breast cancer. So I had my breast surgery on May 8th, 2019. It was successful. 2 weeks later, I had another surgery to remove the surrounding cells, just in case any of those cells left behind were cancerous. A few weeks after that, I began my 16 rounds of radiation, where I went 5 days a week for 3.5 weeks. The last step of the procedure was to begin a chemotherapy where you take a pill for 5 years, and the purpose is to suppress your estrogen levels that your body creates naturally. I had had an appointment, ironically, at the VA just a few days after I started my therapy, and it required me to do some blood work. One night, I got a phone call that I was awakened by from the technician at the VA. The caller on the other end asked for me and how I was feeling, and I thought, how am I feeling at 11 o'clock at night and I was asleep? But what the caller had to tell me was very important. He called to tell me that my blood work had came back 3 to 4 times higher than what they should be, and could I come in and come to the emergency room because they would be able to give me an MRI and what other test that I need so they could see why my blood work was registering so high. But instead, the next day I called my oncologist and he had me come in, and sure enough, had I waited 3 or 4 more hours or even a whole day, I may not be here, but I would have been in pretty serious condition considering what my numbers had gotten to. And here I am now. In conclusion, I'd like everyone to remember these things. Listen to the little voice inside of you. Everyone has one. It won't steer you wrong. Cancer does not discriminate. It doesn't know your race, gender, creed, or color. You never know how you inspire or impact another person when you share your journey with them. And always do a kindness to someone. It doesn't hurt. Tell your loved ones that you love them daily because tomorrow may be too late. Live your dreams while you can and enjoy. More than all, prayer does work. And in closing, I'd like to share this. Suffering can seem like a journey with no end in sight, but God walks with you through it. Others will sometimes come alongside us, but He will always be with you. Thanks for allowing me to share my journey with you, and I hope that you'll enjoy this Relay for Life. Thank you.